Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the JobsOhio Q2 board meeting. Now, please welcome Chairman Josh Rubin.
Good morning. Welcome to our quarterly board meeting in what has been a beautiful few days here in Cincinnati, Ohio. A few days that would have been even more beautiful with a different result over at Great American Ballpark last night, but I guess the split gives everyone something to cheer about. We meet today at University of Cincinnati's Digital Futures campus, and I want to thank President Pinto and his team for graciously hosting us in this great facility. And thanks to all of you Bearcats for your generous hospitality. I also want to thank Kim Lauterbach of Ready Cincinnati and her team for all the work that you're doing in the region, and thank the mayor, whom I had a chance to speak with last night, for working with us on some very important initiatives. As I always like to mention, we need to make sure JobsOhio is working for all of Ohio, and Cincinnati is full of examples we can show off. MedPace, WorldPay, GE, TQL, Purina, and True are just some, not to mention the Cincinnati Innovation District in partnership with the University and Cincinnati Children's Hospital, as well as the British Airways direct flight to London that was launched last year. All of these are impactful investments, especially as we navigate economic headwinds and uncertainty. But I think it's also important to stress that JobsOhio is committed to all communities, not just the major city centers. In the Ready region, we've had more than 78 projects, including 17 small business grants in 2023 alone. You'll hear more about this later from JP, who's going to talk about these programs and some of our key partnerships. We're also looking forward to a timely and important overview around JobsOhio's talent strategy and a panel discussion during the President's report. But first, I'd like to welcome our Lieutenant Governor, John Husted, who, working side by side with Governor DeWine, continues to work each and every day to make sure Ohio is a place where everyone has an opportunity to work, live, and thrive. Lieutenant Governor, are you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Chairman Rubin and JP and the rest of the board for the opportunity to share a few thoughts. I have been in Southwest and Southern Ohio over the past week. I know that recently I visited the headquarters for GE Aerospace in Cincinnati, and I know they're working on some amazing innovations in aerospace propulsion. So it's exciting just to see all of the wonderful things that are happening in Ohio. And I was down in Adams County, just up the river from where you're at, seeing the offload site there that is going to supply the Intel plant with their heavy equipment, including the super loads that are going to be traveling up Route 23 and to Central Ohio. So it's great to see some of the supply chain for all of the economic development projects that we have developed in the state. I want to hit on a couple of key points. First of all, I want to congratulate the team on all the successes. Just this week, I had conversations with companies that have moved operations to Ohio over the last few years, and they're intending on investing tens of billions of dollars, literally, from Intel to Microsoft to Google and others in our state. So we have some of the most important companies in the world investing billions in Ohio right now. And that is good for all businesses, medium-sized businesses, small businesses who become the supply chain for the semiconductor industry, the data industry, the AI industry. All of that is growing rapidly in the state of Ohio. But the issue that we face is an issue of talent. We have more jobs than we have people to fill them right now, which is the right kind of problem to have. I've been on the other end of that, where we had more people than jobs, and that's not a good place to be. But we have a lot of opportunity, and a lot of opportunity for the people of our state. But America faces, the developed world faces a demographic problem. The reality is that this is not an easy problem to solve because we have more people turning 65 than we do 25. We have more people that are within 10 years of retiring than 10 years of going to work. And so the demographic trends are against us. Not unique to Ohio, but it's one that we all face. And so at the state level, we are aggressively working on making sure that every Ohioan who wants to participate in the Ohio economy, the growing Ohio economy, has a chance. I was in Mahoning County yesterday at a nearly $12 million expansion of their career center for engineering, robotics, cybersecurity, AI, advanced manufacturing, all of those things right at the high school level. We have career centers, and career tech education is booming in Ohio, and we need to take full advantage of that, of getting our industry partners and our educators collaborating to drive the growth of talent in our state. We have the Super Rapids program, which is investing in higher education, in particular at developing talent, particularly in the engineering space. And then we have programs like Tech Credit that are allowing any Ohioan to earn an industry recognized credential for free, working with their employer in the state of Ohio. So we are focused on that talent pipeline at the state level. That's what state government can do. Some of the things that JobsOhio can do, which I know it's working on, and that I think are JobsOhio is uniquely positioned to do, is that talent recruitment of people who have ties to Ohio. Maybe they grew up here, maybe they once worked here, maybe they went to school here, and recruiting them back to Ohio is a role that JobsOhio can uniquely play. And also JobsOhio can uniquely play that role with our industry partners, people that are wanting to grow in Ohio, that are moving to Ohio. You working with them directly are two things that you can do. So the state playing its role, JobsOhio playing its role in collaboration is the way that we can address this. And there are other issues that are even broader than that. Housing issues, making sure we have places for people to live, and that we keep the supply demand in balance so that we don't have inflationary problems, and we can keep that wonderful cost of living advantage that we have in Ohio intact by creating enough housing for people to live in communities across our state. And then I'll conclude with the final point. With all of this growth, with all of the made in America that we're doing, with all of the expansion of EVs, we're going to need energy. The Governor DeWine and I sent a letter to the EPA and to PJM, our grid regulator, being very clear that the federal rules make it difficult to produce energy adequate to do made in America. If we're going to continue to expand the Intels and the data centers and the Hondas and the EVs, then and make more things in America, we're going to have more electricity, so that they need to slow down the decommissioning of coal plants. They need to speed up the construction of gas-fired electrical plants. And then we certainly recognize that there are also going to be renewable energy options for people that want it, wind and solar. But wind and solar are not adequate to the task of the 24/7, 365 characteristics that are needed for manufacturing and data. And so that will continue to be an issue, and we will work with our regulators on that, but we will not allow them to delay our aggressive approach to make sure that we can meet the energy demands necessary to do made in America and made in Ohio. And we have been working with the JobsOhio team on that, and we will continue to do so to make sure that we can deliver the electricity that the consumers of the state demand. So those are a few thoughts that I wanted to share with you this morning. Thank you for the wonderful partnership and the great team, and happy to answer any questions that you have, but just wanted to share those thoughts.
Any questions for Lieutenant Governor? Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
We're lucky in this state to have someone like John Husted who's waking up every day thinking about economic development issues and thinking about how to make this a better place. So great that he was able to join us this morning. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of our March 7th meeting. The minutes have been distributed to the board members. Are there any edits or comments regarding the minutes that have been distributed? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. The minutes of the March 7th meeting have been approved. Next order of business is our president's report, and I will turn it over to JP.
Thank you very much, Chairman Rubin, and distinguished volunteer board members for JobsOhio. Thank you very much, again, for committing your time, energy, resources, and intellectual capital to helping JobsOhio and our state be as good as it can be. I'd also like to thank Mayor Pureval and Tom Williams in particular. Tom is our Cincinnati-based board member for JobsOhio, and his birthday happened to be yesterday, so happy birthday, Tom. I want to make sure I said that for the minutes. But he made availability at the Reds and Guardians game last night, so our team, our board, our professional staff, our partners could come together and enjoy world-class baseball at an amazing facility and a beautiful night in Cincinnati. So thank you very much for that, Tom, and Mayor Pureval, who came and stayed a significant amount of time with us. You know, our chairman poked a little fun at the game last night. Our chairman's a Cleveland fan, and obviously we're here in Cincinnati at the Reds game, and our state is unique, and one of our strengths is that we do have friendly sibling rivalries amongst our communities, amongst our stakeholders and people. That diversity creates economic diversity, it creates a diverse workforce and diverse communities. And as a platform, our economic development platform depends on our team at JobsOhio being able to work in partnership around the state with organizations that bring the best elements out of each of those unique regions of our state, and they're here today. We do compete. We have rivalries with each other. We poke fun at each other, but we all want the same thing for our state. We want it to be recognized for what it is, the best place to live, work, invest, and live your own version of the American dream. And they're here today. Our partners are here today. First, I'll thank Ready Cincinnati CEO Kim Lauterbach for hosting, and her outgoing board chair, George Vincent. And I want to welcome the incoming board chair, Amy Spiller. They joined us last night, but we also have our partners here from our 7 regional partners around the state. They're all here today, in addition to Kim, who's the CEO of Ready Cincinnati. Jeff Hoagland, if he's not here, I know he's inbound. He got caught in some traffic on the way in. Katie Farber from Ohio Southeast. Mark Patton and Kenny McDonald from One Columbus, Dean Monsky from RGP, which is in the Toledo area, Bill Kaler representing Team NEO, the leader of Team NEO, and our newest partner and the final region for the JobsOhio network, Lake to River, Alexa Sweeney-Blacon's here joining us from Lake to River. So thank you to our partners for being here and for collaborating and for working as a team. So Governor DeWine says it best, that this is Ohio's time. But to really understand the significance of those 4 words, you must consider what Ohio has been through to get here. And you've heard me say this before, but I don't think it can be said enough. So if you look back 14 years ago or so, the situation wasn't as nearly as optimistic as it is today. Our state had been on a downward trend starting in the 60s and 70s of outmigration of our core industries, and our jobs, which went south first and west, then across borders and oceans. That trend reached a crisis stage as we entered the 21st century, where Ohio had lost 18.4% of the jobs in those critical industries, in those critical sectors between 2001 and 2010. By 2011, Ohio's economy had hit rock bottom. In response to this crisis, like Ohioans do, rolled up our sleeves and got to work. The legislature started to address the state's overall business climate, which was in the bottom 10. JobsOhio was launched in 2011 as a statewide private economic development corporation committed to helping Ohio businesses and people thrive. JobsOhio was not intended to fix the entire economy. It was designed to rebuild Ohio's industrial core across 9 private sectors, ranging from advanced manufacturing to automotive to aerospace to technology, healthcare, life sciences, financial services, chemicals, logistics, and agribusiness, a very diverse set of core sectors, a strength. These are the most capital-intensive and the highest-paying industries. Bringing them back to Ohio is the first step in starting an economic ripple effect across the rest of the state's economy. Our unique funding model at JobsOhio, utilizing stable private resources from the profits earned from running the JobsOhio beverage system, allows this platform flexibility as we support Ohio companies and their people as they expand in the intense competition for industrial expansion and job creation. We've come a long way since then. From 2011 to 2019, Ohio experienced what I would call a remarkable turnaround, becoming a national leader in economic development by helping companies and their people grow. Site Selection Magazine's Global Groundwork Index recently rated Ohio as the #1 state in America for economic development infrastructure projects from 2019 to 2023. This is based on a number of economic factors: job creation, capital expenditures, strategic infrastructure investments, completely independent accounting of important economic activity, investment, and performance that maps to many of our internal performance metrics, #1 in the country. Since JobsOhio was founded in 2011, Ohio has generated more than 219,000 net new direct job commitments and $117 billion in investments in our 10 targeted sectors, 9 of them private, 1 of them public, military, and federal. In those 10 sectors, job growth was over 21%. So it made up all that was lost, and now we're on the positive side of the ledger as we move forward. I can tell you this is an extraordinary achievement, and the thanks goes to all of Team Ohio, many represented in this room. Includes the visionary policies of the DeWine Husted administration, the Ohio legislature, together with JobsOhio and our regional partners statewide. Ohio is now #2 in mega projects, #2 in reshoring jobs in the country. Ohio is the only state in the country to consistently place in the top 5 of Site Selection's Governor's Cup rankings for total economic development projects and projects per capita. We consistently, year after year, punch above our weight and are in the top 5. The only state in the top 5 in both of those categories each year. Based on their analysis of the development projects across the U.S. in 2023, Ohio secured the #3 spot for overall projects. What's even more remarkable is that these projects aren't just located in 1 or 2 of the large metro areas. They're spread into cities in virtually every size and category all over our state. Ohio scored the highest number of top 100 high-growth micropolitans in the nation with 16. And at JobsOhio, you heard this reference from the chairman, we rigorously document and measure our effectiveness and efficiency to make sure we're constantly able to know where we are so we can improve and so that we can understand and our stakeholders can understand the value that we are expected to deliver to Ohio. We run it like a business because it is a private, not-for-profit corporation. So how do we track JobsOhio's return on investment? It's measured. Every dollar we invest in incentives and services to attract and retain and expand investment must return more dollars to the state in payroll taxes on those net new jobs added than the dollars that went in to incent the project in the first place. And an independent economic impact study showed that from 2011 to 2021, and it doesn't include the last 3 years of explosive growth, every $1 of JobsOhio investment in economic development generated $17 in tax receipts for the state treasury. So for $1 invested, the state gets $17 to invest in services that are important to Ohioans. And just since 2019, because of the great work of our team, that return on investment has increased the return on investment to Ohio by 75%. So we're able to do more with less investment dollars. The signposts of Ohio's economic momentum are statewide and multi-sector. They include projects you know about, like Intel, AWS, MedPace, Honda, LG mega projects, along with hundreds of strategically important projects like Joby, the state's largest aviation investment project. Aer Lingus, Purina. Aer Lingus is the nonstop air service from Cleveland to Dublin, the first since 2009. Purina, General Mills. And Ohio now has the 8th most diverse economy in the United States, and our rate of diversification outstrips that of our Midwest and coastal competitors. A diverse economy means a resilient economy. Big project wins are not our sole focus. At JobsOhio, we recognize that a thriving small businesses and downtown districts are crucial to building vibrant communities that in turn attract those big project wins and the workforce that goes with them. Since 2020, we've provided grants, purchased equipment, and supported projects that have helped over 500 small businesses and over 20 Ohio small towns to expand opportunities, attract outside investment, and revitalize business districts, all since 2020. Another part of our commitment to connecting people to the state of Ohio and attracting businesses and talent in the process was the launch of the Air Service Restoration Program in 2020 to increase the number of destinations served at the state's 7 commercial airports. Simply put, if we want to land new company operations in Ohio, if we want to keep the operations here growing, we need to land new passenger flight routes here as well. And much gratitude to Terry Slaybaugh, who leads that effort for JobsOhio. We've added dozens of domestic flights to multiple airports, and British Airways and Aer Lingus have exclusively expanded their service to Ohio airports. They expanded nowhere else last year in North America other than Cleveland service to Dublin, Cincinnati service to London. Here's the kicker, and why these are all connected and why they matter. WorldPay's CEO said, the new direct flight from CVG to London's Heathrow significantly contributed to his decision to make their corporate headquarters in Greater Cincinnati, connecting to their customers worldwide. This is an impact that fuels economic growth and Ohioans' quality of life. I mentioned our partners. JobsOhio is a proud partner of Ready Cincinnati, whose mission is to help businesses locate and expand in the Cincinnati region. The 5-county region, anchored by the Cincinnati metro area and innovation district, boasts a diverse economy, a skilled workforce with a growing talent pool, and a superb quality of life. We experienced some of that last night, a combination that's hard to beat. The University of Cincinnati and Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center extend Cincinnati's global leadership in pediatric cancer research and treatment. And leading companies are recognizing Cincinnati's strength. In 2022, MedPace, a clinical contract research organization founded in Cincinnati, invested $150 million to expand operations and bring 1,500 new jobs to Cincinnati in the next 6 years. WorldPay recently chose Cincinnati as its global corporate headquarters, bringing more than 500 new office jobs and over $50 million in payroll to Southwest Ohio, adding to the 900 jobs it already has. Across sectors, innovative companies choose Ohio to be home to their latest advancements. As the material handling industry evolved, True looked to Ohio to develop its high-speed sortation systems and supporting software. Southwest Ohio offers the perfect combination of talented engineering workforce to support True's growth and easy access to retail and e-commerce distribution centers to meet the rising demand. Of course, GE Aerospace recently became a standalone company traded on the New York Stock Exchange. One of the first things GE Aerospace did was to announce that Evendale would be its headquarters. As CEO Larry Culp put it, when you're home, you're home. That's good news for the 10,000 GE aerospace employees in the Cincinnati-Evendale area. And that's great news for the future of the broader aerospace industry, not just in Southern Ohio, but across our state. In the media, sometimes we read reports that Ohio's overall economy still ranks in the bottom 10 in the U.S., based on a variety of metrics. Those reports aren't necessarily wrong, but they are just wrong metrics for assessing the effectiveness of the sectors that JobsOhio and our network focus on. The economic impact of JobsOhio projects is in the early stages of being felt. When we do groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings for some of these large announcements, these industrial facilities are just getting started to gear up. Construction can take years, and the job commitments our clients make are fulfilled in accordance with contractual timelines. But importantly, each JobsOhio project creates an economic ripple effect that benefits communities across the state in ways that we don't report and we don't formally count. But those impacts exist, and they're real, and they're tangible. In 2022, we had an independent research company take a deeper look at the broader impacts of the direct jobs created and the direct investments made and the direct payroll generated. First, the construction industry booms. In fact, they found that JobsOhio has supported 1 in 8 construction jobs statewide every single year. Then suppliers come, and local service companies spring up, hiring even more Ohioans. So ultimately, every one job commitment from a JobsOhio client leads to another additional 1.3 jobs in the Ohio economy. This is the same report that quantified that every $1 of JobsOhio investment turns into $17 of state tax revenue. There is a ripple effect, and it's significant. And we don't report it because we want to be conservative in how we report. The seeds are being planted in Ohio soil that will grow and blossom over the next 5, 10, or 15 years. So for the same reason we were in the bottom 10 rankings a decade ago, but our improved business environment, the creation of JobsOhio allowed us to now achieve top rankings for number of projects and number of deals. 10 years from now, when those jobs are in place and indirect jobs are created, you'll see Ohio's rankings across all categories be where they belong. But with success comes some challenges, especially around the talent needed to accomplish this once-in-a-generation opportunity. As one of our key workforce partners described it, this is a terrifyingly exciting time. We project that Ohio needs to produce or find an additional 540,000 STEM and technically certified people over the next 10 years to fill the current and anticipated needs of technology, advanced manufacturing, and life sciences companies. Workforce constraints are not unique to Ohio. They are a nationwide issue and likely an issue for the industrialized world. But Ohio cannot be content by being a glass half full state. Employers in multiple countries and multiple industries and those of all sizes are experiencing this shortage in attracting and retaining workers. Overall, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce reports there are only 71 workers for every 100 jobs in the U.S. Ohio is seeing the same trends and challenges. In 2017, JobsOhio recognized the need to assist our sector companies in attracting, developing, and retaining employees. We started by creating a customized incentive for talent acquisition services. In 2020, we focused on additional attraction efforts by launching Find Your Ohio, an out-of-state talent attraction campaign and platform to connect talent to Ohio employers. We've committed $300 million to grow more STEM talent through investment in 3 innovation districts, the first of which is here in Cincinnati. Today's volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, including the significant talent shortage, create circumstances that require new thinking to reimagine and reinvent the future. So, we are taking action. And here to discuss JobsOhio's talent initiatives and programs is Christy Klaus, JobsOhio's Senior Managing Director for Talent. Thank you, Christy.
Well, we are energized by this talent challenge, and we're going to take it on as a team. Thank you, JP, board members, Jobs Ohio Network, distinguished guests, and especially the Ready team and Kim. I'd like to recognize also the Jobs Ohio talent team that is here mostly today and led by Lindy, John, Elise, Molly, and Gina, and our regional talent team of Adam and Brian. A lot of us ask ourselves every day, what are we going to do with this talent challenge? Well, one of the ways, to JP's point, Jobs Ohio is tackling the challenge through our talent acquisition services. We serve as a single point of contact for companies, saving them time and energy, lessening their financial and human capacity burdens. We have a team of more than 35 subject matter experts that help guide companies in navigating best practices, tools, partners, and programs. And those are both on the public side as well as the private side. We earn trusted relationships with the company, become an integrated part of their team, and our other friend is our data. It allows us to be focused and targeted to ensure results are seen today and tomorrow for the company and for Ohio. We follow the company's typical talent management cycle, which is to how they are looking at attracting, engaging, selecting, and developing their own talent. We evaluate the company's current state and develop a talent strategy with them. And if a talent incentive is in the project, then we go and develop a tailored plan for each company with over 100 different options of how to meet them in where they are, accelerate their growth, and fill gaps where it's needed. By addressing immediate and long-term needs with targeted efforts, we are helping companies exceed results and a punch above industry average. Companies see the value we bring. You can go to the next slide. Buyers, sorry. Results and impact. You can see that the companies that we are helping are exceeding their commitment for job growth, and they're asking for us to get engaged with them by 190% increase since 2019 of clients that we have been serving. Also on the results, they are exceeding status quo. You can see there that they're reaching 5 times higher LinkedIn campaign results, 2.7 times higher application conversion rates than the industry averages. And we're helping them develop their talent. While the majority is focused on technical skills, which are critically important, but we also know that that is not the only gap as it relates to skills for companies. They also need soft skills and leadership skills, which we are also helping them refine in their incumbent and upcoming workforce. Next slide. So soon you're going to hear directly from some of our own clients about the impact we've made together. But first, I'd like to focus on some of the unique factors that help us in Ohio win more projects. And that's really the and factor. The differentiator starts with Ohio. We're the 7th largest state in population, and we have a significant labor force. We also have a rich ecosystem of partners and programs, such as more than 200 universities, community colleges, and technical centers. And in Ohio means job center in all 88 counties, and many more. Then you add in Team Ohio with the DeWine and Houston administration and all of our state partners, and then fold in Jobs Ohio. To JP's earlier points about our unique owned structure, we're a private corporation with sustainable and flexible funding. This allows us to be more agile and nimble than our competitor states in the talent front. We also have our regional network, and that model is different than any other state we compete with. This ensures on the talent front that companies have a strategy that are highly relevant and effective for the local market. Our competitors are missing that same level of localized focus that the Jobs Ohio and the Jobs Ohio network bring. Because of the nature of our competitors' structures, oftentimes they require using only state partners for any of the talent programs that they're leveraging for their clients, and they're also beholden to a procurement system. But Jobs Ohio takes a local to global service approach. We have a bench of approximately 300 unique vendors that range from public to private. This model allows us to execute the company's tailored talent strategy with expertise from proven partners and it reduces time and cost for the company by cutting through the red tape and managing the service delivery for them. Unlike other states' programs that focus solely on training, JobsOhio offers end-to-end talent support in all 4 of those areas of their talent management cycle. Our team combines our own expertise with a data-driven approach that is constantly evaluating outcomes and optimizing our tactics. No other state is as integrated with the client and puts this combination together for companies. These are the and factors of how JobsOhio and Ohio stand out among our peers and why we believe Ohio is the best place for companies to locate, grow, and thrive. I hope you feel the energy, and I'm really excited about having the 3 companies come up here and talk about how we've helped them from a differentiator for Ohio and JobsOhio. And first, we're going to show a quick video. Thank you.
If your company wants to grow in Ohio, one handshake can change everything. It's who you know, and who they know, and what they know. And most importantly, knowing you don't have to go it alone. Bring us your toughest talent challenges, and we'll put the power of Team Ohio to work for you. The Talent Attractors, Recruitment Marketers, Talent Developers, Educators, Legislators, and Data Analyzers who will connect you with the talent you need now and into the future. Ohioans who are at the heart of it all, with more than 200 years of tradition as thinkers and tinkerers, growers and cultivators, innovators and record breakers who will help you change the world.
Great. Thank you very much, Christy. That was an outstanding video. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, as you can see, our talent team has been refining their processes to deliver world-class service and talent services, a critical need to our client companies, clearly an element of our success. We're grateful to have 3 of those companies from Southwest Ohio here with us today to share some of their experiences working with Christy and the talent team. Excuse me. Please allow me to introduce Dan Shelton, VP of Application Development at TQL, Denise Schinkel, a Manager of Learning and Development at Standard Aero, and Abby Sorrell, Senior Technical Recruiter with Divisions. Welcome. Dan, thank you for being here. Let's start off with you. Please introduce yourself and your role with TQL. And to kick off today's panel, say there are key factors that lead to success of your technical boot camp enabled by the talent team. Please describe them.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate the opportunity to talk about a program that's so near and dear to my heart. I'm Dan Shelton. I lead our application development team at TQL. So at TQL, we're a third-party brokerage that we help connect customers' shipping needs with the carriers that need to move that product, and we help get that product moved. I lead the technology organization that helps build those applications. We leverage a lot of technology, and we have a lot of talent challenges to upskill our teams, get them staffed up, and we've had a lot of business growth, so we've had to do that relatively quickly. The key factors that really helped us succeed with this boot camp program that we first piloted and then have now become part of our talent strategy overall, we're really started with leadership and manager buy-in. We had strong support from the top down of the company to invest in our employees to help bring them into the technical realm from other areas of the business. Also, the partnerships that we had existing that JobsOhio helped bring together. We leveraged a relationship with Max Technical Training to put together the boot camp curriculum, and the Apprenti Cincinnati organization and a registered apprenticeship program to add some formality to it and help us streamline that process. And JobsOhio provided the funding and the support and the help to kind of tie all that together to make it really efficient for us to do so. That framework really helped us make it a repeatable, sustainable process. We had success right out of the gate with our first cohort of 10 associates that we plucked from areas of the business, put into this IT boot camp, trained them to be software engineers, and we've seen great success with that. We then had our second cohort that graduated and is now on the job, and we just kicked off our third that is now underway in the training of the actual process. So we've now had close to 40 folks that have gone through that program, and we've got some great success stories. A couple of things we've seen, a lot of folks came to Cincinnati from other areas of the country, other employees of TQL. They came for the program itself and relocated to Cincinnati area. And one of the things that I was most proud of is so we have a success story I'd like to share. There's many that I could talk about for hours, but I'll share one. We had a gentleman in a small town in West Virginia, worked as a sales assistant in one of our TQL offices. He applied for the program. In the interview process, he just basically begged for the opportunity and talked about his technical experience, which was all homegrown, self-learned experience that he had. And he hit the ground running in this program. On the day one of the boot camp, became kind of the star of that initial boot camp. He's been promoted twice and is now leading a team of software engineers for us just a couple of years out of this boot camp. So it's been a great success, and we've had several other stories like that I could share.
Thank you, Dan. Are there any questions from the board for Dan? Well, thank you for sharing that, Dan. Denise, thank you also for being here. If you could introduce yourself and your role at Standard Arrow, and then tell us how the talent incentive helped you innovate and create a business case for artificial and virtual reality programs.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. As you mentioned, Denise Schenkel, and I am in the learning and development capacity at Standard Arrow. And to just touch on that a little bit, it also includes going out into the community and building the partnerships with the schools and this big uplift with talent development. I've spent most of my career in the L&D platform, the last 2.5 years at Standard Arrow in aviation. And a little bit about Standard Arrow. I know you had mentioned GE, and we're just up the road from GE, but Standard Arrow is one of the world's leading independent MRO services providers in the aerospace industry, been around for a long time. We offer custom solutions for commercial and business aviation, as well as military and industrial power customers. We're a global company with 40-plus sites around the world, committed to quality products and really investing in our workforce to support their internal development and recruiting new talent and providing those pathways. For example, in Cincinnati, we have over 23 functional job roles on the shop floor. So that provides a lot of opportunity to try and help our internal employees make a career of Standard Arrow versus a job. So that's been some heavy lifting in terms of trying to bring that talent in as well. And so a little bit about our project with JobsOhio is we collaborated with JobsOhio and Ready Cincinnati to create and build interactive training program utilizing the state-of-the-art technology that's available for our employees, both internally and our additional hires. JobsOhio really did a lot of the heavy lifting and connected us with UC's VR simulation program, which is here in this building. And with JobsOhio kind of acting as the point of contact and coordinating the assets and the equipment, let us continue to develop our employees while they did a lot of towing the line to connect and to help us build those virtual reality modules that we are now using in our programs. So as part of that program, it was a part of a bigger vision of creating a center of excellence. And so the center of excellence would be the best equipment and the best technical knowledge to train our people internally. And so the VR system programs became a major component of that. And with that, JobsOhio and really presented a model that a lot of our other business units are looking to replicate. So it's a center of excellence where you're looking at different ways of training and onboarding people in a very innovative way. Also, as was mentioned earlier, we're in the advanced manufacturing arena, which desperately is looking for skilled talent. And that's another arena where I think the VR presents itself in a business like ours. It requires a very high level of technical skill and precision, very high cost of all the product and the components that we're working on, airplane parts, in addition to the criticality of what we do. I think I've been told we probably touch 80% of what flies in the air in some way, shape, or form. So you're not putting people on the floor right away. You're probably sometimes 4 months before somebody's touching a live part. So again, a simulated environment to give people the opportunity to practice and build their skill has been huge. We've also hosted other sites and teams who have done the VR, and we were back here, matter of fact, last month, meeting with UC to try and build additional modules. We've been awarded some exciting contracts, so we're continuing to grow. And then there's some of our other sites want to partner with UC's VR system to build simulations for their arenas. So that's really kind of been a game changer in my mind from the L&D platform, also helping to recruit younger talent. They're looking for technology. So this has been a great model and a business project, and continuing to build on that partnership.
Outstanding. Denise, thank you. And members of the board, any questions for Denise? Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Abby, over to you. Thank you again for being here. Again, please introduce yourself and your role at Divisions and how the Jobs Ohio Talent Incentive helps your recruitment marketing efforts.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. My name is Abby Sorrell. I'm a senior technical recruiter for Divisions Maintenance Group. And what we do is we are a facilities maintenance company. So what that means is we provide services to our customers like landscaping, snow removal, parking lot cleanup, plumbing, electric. And we do that by connecting them with top-tier service providers that we have partnered with. And for the most part, our customers have been commercial, but we are constantly growing and expanding, so we're starting to tap into new markets, into the retail space and university space. So it's a really exciting time right now, and the partnership with JobsOhio came at a really great time. We had just moved our headquarters from Kentucky into the heart of Cincinnati in downtown, right in the square. And one of the biggest challenges that we're facing is that in order to grow, it's not just customer growth. We're trying to grow on the tech side. We really want to be the tech giant in the facilities maintenance world. We've created some really amazing products, but we definitely need to recruit more talent. And one of those challenges is just getting our name out there. Divisions Maintenance Group is pretty well known in our area, but nationwide, outside of the provider side, not so much on the tech side. So one of the things that JobsOhio helped us was they connected us with some really excellent marketing partners to create marketing campaigns that were very strategic based on what we needed to target those different areas, not only in the Midwest and East Coast, but we're also targeting on the West Coast, where all the top tech giants are in our country. And they were really great. They had bi-weekly meetings with us. They were super collaborative, constant communication. They were able to pivot quickly when it came to if we wanted to change the marketing strategy from being more, the typical job boards of Indeed and ZipRecruiter, but focusing more on LinkedIn. And we were able to get our name out there in a way that our marketing team has not been able to do thus far. Another way that they really helped our team that we've had some challenges in as well is my recruiting team. It's mostly junior to mid-level recruiters. I was the first senior technical recruiter that they'd ever had, like in the company ever. So there's only a couple of us that are senior recruiters, and so there's not a lot of training that's been involved in their development and their career development and being able to pivot and work on some of those tech roles. So JobsOhio actually set us up with different recruiter trainings, technical recruiting training, diversity training, recruiting through social media. And it's made our team, not only those junior recruiters have more confidence, but we're more collaborative and are working. Now, if you know my junior recruiters, they see an analyst or an engineer pop up in their search, you know, they're able to send them to me and be like, hey, I think this is a good fit for your job. And that's something we've never had before. So it's really improved our teamwork, and we're really grateful for that opportunity from JobsOhio.
Thank you, Abby. Any questions for Abby from our board? All right, to round out the panel, let's go around the table quickly with, from each of you. Abby, we'll start with you this time. And could you just describe how the partnership with JobsOhio created an advantage in the marketplace for you?
Absolutely. So I'll go back to that marketing campaign that JobsOhio helped us with. So some of our positions that we have, they're very niche in the market for, you know, the technical side. And one of those is we're looking for senior data scientists. And for anyone that's worked in the tech space, senior data scientist is a very small pool. It hasn't been around that long. It's one of those technical skills that, you know, AI wasn't constantly around 10 years ago. So when you're talking about senior people that this has been their hands-on job for 8+ years, it's a very small pool to pick from. And when I've had to work on these jobs in the past, it was a lot of outside sourcing from myself. We weren't getting the applications. There's not as many of those in the area. You have to pull from the West Coast. And from JobsOhio's marketing campaign that they put into place for us when we came out with these new positions, I had more applications than I had ever seen before, hundreds. And typically I spend, you know, maybe 1 to 2 hours in the morning sorting through applications, and I was having to spend entire days. And not only that, but the applications were quality, and they were candidates that were out of state but willing to relocate. Most of the time when I'm talking to candidates and I'm like, we would want you to relocate to work at our headquarters, they're like, I'm out, I wanted remote. We had 9 qualified candidates from applications, and we're getting ready to offer 2. So that was great, and, you know, the numbers speak for themselves.
It's great to hear that.
Yep.
Dan?
Yeah, so the main advantage for us in partnering with JobsOhio, one is connecting us to all the available partners that could help make our apprenticeship a success, and providing the playbook and helping us streamline that process. We could have stumbled our way through this ourselves, probably. We would have had some failures. It would have taken much longer. It would have been less efficient, and it wouldn't have been as a wise use of resources. JobsOhio streamlined that for us and made it very quick for us.
Thank you, Dan. Denise?
Tag team on a little bit of that as well as I really appreciate the JobsOhio team in terms of the whole experience from end to end, the professionalism, the expertise. You know, you look at it and you say sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So when you pull in a collaborative group like this with a ton of resources and a ton of connections, as you mentioned, it really makes it a pleasant and educational and productive outcome. Like I said, with us in the technology piece of end of things, I can just see that continuing to blossom and building on that platform as well. So very much appreciate all of the efforts and the speed with which a lot of it was completed. Dynamic team.
Thank you, Denise. Any further questions from our board members? Well, Dan, Denise, and Abby, thank you very much for sharing your experience, and congratulations on your success. It's wonderful to hear case studies of how these programs are put into action and the impact that they have on Ohio businesses. So thank you very, very much for sharing those with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman Rubin and members of the board, as our panelists exit, I'd like to call up Alex Conley, the director of JobsOhio's Find Your Ohio initiative. We're sticking with our talent focus areas. Find Your Ohio was the first of its kind, built to help connect job seekers that don't live in Ohio with opportunities that are open inside of Ohio. So it's a free to use. The program is for interested companies and for job seekers. And I would call this an internal startup that is now proving to get traction and success. And to explain more about the evolution of that program and share some of the results, I'll turn it over to the project director, Alex Conley.
Thank you, JP. So Find Your Ohio was initially approved by the board in December of 2019. The goal of the program is to address talent shortages that organizations are facing in critical disciplines by attracting in-demand talent from across the country. The program officially launched in March of 2020, and then by 2022, however, we did see a need to reimagine the program to improve results and decrease costs. So I took over the program in July of 2022. I've always been very passionate about this program, and I'm very grateful to have had the support of JobsOhio leadership and our board, who saw the potential of the program and gave us the opportunity to revamp it. So upon relaunch of the new and improved program in 2023, or in late 2022, the changes were very successful. So we saw that in our 2023 data. So by the end of 2023, we had increased job offers and placements by 78%. We had an increase in candidate matches with companies by 94%, and reduced program costs by 77%. So we were really proud with those results. And then looking at initial 2024 data, we're pleased with the progress and success that we're continuing to see. So we're focusing our efforts this year on what's working and continuing to look for opportunities to optimize and innovate. So we've already driven over 3,700 new candidate resumes this year. With marketing optimizations, we're driving more resumes than ever at a lower cost than ever before. We also launched the healthcare sector, which we did in about a month's time. One of the things that really sets Find Your Ohio apart is our ability to be agile and move really quickly to meet the needs of employers. And so we were approached in December by some of our healthcare sector partnerships across the state who expressed the need for nursing and clinical talent. We worked closely with them and JobsOhio's healthcare sector and innovation district teams, and leveraging their expertise, we were able to get the sector stood up in record time. We now have some of the state's largest healthcare employers participating in the program. Coming off of the success of last year, we also saw unprecedented demand for services from companies. So we are currently servicing over 50 companies and providing candidate referral support for over 30 companies. These numbers continue to grow, and it would not be possible without the support and promotion of the program by our JobsOhio sector teams and our JobsOhio network partners. We rely on company referrals for program participation, so their support has been very much appreciated. And then finally, we are continuing to increase our support of the MilFed sector. So Find Your Ohio has had the opportunity to collaborate very closely with our MilFed sector team and the DDC team, and I've personally really enjoyed working with them and collaborating with them on these initiatives. In 2023, Find Your Ohio had the opportunity to provide JO talent support for the first ever JobsOhio talent support for a federal project. So we were supporting AFL-CMC in meeting their goal of filling new jobs as the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center. We are continuing to expand our footprint in the military and federal space this year, supporting additional organizations. And there's a continued emphasis on attracting transitioning military members, veterans, and those with active security clearances. Those are in demand from both public and private companies. So we are not slowing down on that effort. We have planned 15 military base installation events, and we will continue to kind of expand in this space. So currently, looking at the program today, we're really proud of the progress that we've been able to make. We're adding about 3 new companies a month. We have over 9,000 active candidate resumes in the database. Our candidate referral support is working. So right now, looking at the placements this year, 100% of placements have been from candidates that we have directly referred to organizations. So we're seeing the value of that service. And for the remainder of 2024, we're not slowing down. So we expect the success we've seen thus far to continue. We'll be supporting sector expansions as need dictates, continuing to grow our support of the military and federal sector with additional federal projects. With the program scaling we're seeing, we'll be focusing on enhancing the program infrastructure to manage the increased demand and scale. And then finally, we'll continue to expand and optimize our attraction efforts to drive the best and brightest talent to our state. Thank you.
Alex, thank you. Members of the board, any questions for Alex?
Alex, just one question. When you look at a profile of those 9,000 candidates, it seems like we've had so many folks leave Ohio, but if they have a commonality, they develop this illness, homesickness for Ohio. How many of those candidates fit that profile of homesickness?
You know, we do have a lot of boomerangs, but, you know, I think it speaks to the marketing that JobsOhio and our partners have been doing in general, where we do have a lot of people without ties to the state that have just heard about all of the amazing stuff that we have going on, what a great place it is to, you know, build their own career and their lives. And so I would say we do have a lot of boomerangs. And obviously they know how amazing Ohio is already, but we are seeing a lot of candidates who are looking for a fresh start and open to Ohio.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Alex, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can see there, members of the board, a significant amount of innovation into our talent initiatives. And we continue to innovate, create, again, to deliver market-leading talent services in the fierce competition for talent. And as we look ahead into the rest of 2024 and into 2025, our primary focus is navigating those macroeconomic headwinds that we've been discussing, from persistent inflation, interest rates and cost of capital, geopolitical tensions, and of course, uncertainty that always comes about in an election year. We've asked JobsOhio's interim CFO, Andrew Dye, and Vice President of Strategy to walk us through economic landscape and how that's impacting our road ahead.
Thank you, JP. So first we'll start with by reinforcing some of the good news that you mentioned earlier in the President's report, which is how much more diverse the state economy is than it's been in the past. So what you're looking at here is the latest on our industrial diversity. Our research team, led by Matt Waldo, we look at metrics across people, potential, and prosperity for Ohio's economy. And you know, as we were partnering with the state last year, as they got upgraded to AAA, this was a story we told, and I think is relevant because no matter what the macro environment brings, again, we are a top 10 diverse economy. We're number 8. You can see how that compares to some other states in across the country, but we're only one of 3 states that's become more diverse every year since 2011, other 2 being North Carolina and Nevada. So that's a story we're going to continue to tell, and I think that industry diversity is reflected on the board: construction, insurance, manufacturing, mill-fed, et cetera. So let's celebrate that diversity. Next would be this outlook. So glass half full, the business pipeline, there's a lot of exciting opportunity. Our business development team has stayed very active, recruiting from out of state, but also the business retention and expansion efforts, visiting thousands of existing companies, have led to many opportunities coming into the pipeline. So those 2 forces have us with a strong pipeline. Whether that will materialize this year or in 2025, I think that's up for debate. Deal flow is down this year. You can see how it compares to some of the ebbs and flows since 2010, but we are in the top 5 based on deals that have been announced, but it's a lower volume. Depending on the election, that could help deal flow pick up. Some companies are waiting to see what happens. So in the meantime, we're in year 5 of JobsOhio 2.0. We're doing a lot of new things that we didn't do years ago. Find Your Ohio, talent strategies, talent services were areas where we've scaled. There were calls to do more, and we've stepped up, and those all play into the competitiveness factors. So we're going to run through the tape on JobsOhio 2.0 and actively planning for 2025 and beyond. So with that, I'll turn it back to you and talk about the priorities for the rest of the year.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So as you can see, our deal pipeline remains very strong. And you heard from Andrew, those projects are delayed. Reasons that are cited are these economic headwinds, but we're going to remain focused, and we're going to make sure we adapt to this environment. So As we accelerate through 2024, we're committed to our priorities. We have a lot of them, but we're focused on these priorities. And I'm going to just walk through them so you know how we're structuring our 2024 budget and our strategy as we prepare to update our 5-year strategic plan that Andrew referenced. Number one, we're going to finalize our talent investments. You heard from our talent team and from some companies that are benefiting from those talent investments and programs. But JobsOhio is not done. We are going to incorporate an assessment of those talent initiatives into our 5-year strategic planning effort, and we anticipate a significant additional investment in programs for talent that will complement the programs that already exist in the ecosystem. Again, the idea is that Ohio needs to win and compete and win in the fierce competition for talent. Number two, we're going to support statewide site development. One of the many things that we hear from our client companies looking and considering Ohio for an investment is they want a site that's ready to go. Governor DeWine, Lieutenant Governor Husted, and the administration announced the Ohio Future Fund. That will be rolling out. We are going to be a supportive partner in helping align what we're seeing in our pipeline and in the market with those investments that the state is making to prepare our sites. Number three, we are going to continue aggressive business development. With these economic headwinds, last year, the impact of those headwinds was deal flow announced nationwide. Projects announced nationwide were down between 35% and 40%. That trend is continuing, but ultimately with an aggressive business development posture that we are taking alongside our regional partners. As the economic cycle plays out, we want Ohio to remain at the top of the economic cycle, whether it's up or whether it's down. Number four, we're going to accelerate Ohio's innovation strategy. First, with the innovation districts, the 3 that JobsOhio invested in beginning in 2019, the end of 2019, but also to support Governor DeWine and Lieutenant Governor Husted's rollout of the innovation hub strategy. Those innovation districts are very important. The innovation hubs are important because they augment increased production of STEM talent that's so important. They increase the amount of research, externally sponsored research that turns into intellectual property, which turns into companies, and site development to create vibrancy for small businesses, large businesses, and a wonderful quality of life. Number 5, we are going to capitalize on unprecedented federal budget opportunities, Inflation Reduction Act, CHIPS Act, national defense resources to make sure that we in Ohio are advocating with our elected representatives in Washington, D.C. to bring back more than our fair share of resources to invest alongside the private sector to accelerate our economy. Number 6, we are going to continue to scale those small business opportunities and community opportunities that our chairman emphasized earlier in his remarks. Just since 2020, working closely with our regional partners, over 500 of those small business projects that not only included for every $1 of JobsOhio investment, up to $11 of other investment came in to some of Ohio's most charming, quaint, and wonderful small towns, small communities, and small innovative companies. We're going to accelerate those types of investments. Number 7, we're going to embark and complete our forward-looking 5-year strategic plan, and we're excited about that. Many of our stakeholders will be included in that process, as will our board. And then finally, with the CHIPS Act and Intel's success, we intend to capture the Intel supply chain in and around the company and around the state. So we have a lot of priorities because they're a significant opportunity. We want to keep our eye on the ball. But these are our priorities for 2024, and we're excited for those. So, Mr. Chairman, this concludes my president's report. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, JP. Any questions for JP from the board? Okay, next order of business are the committee reports. So we'll give you a high overview of what happened. And I think it's worth mentioning, I think we met yesterday for 8+ plus hours, and that's just a little sliver of what happens between those meetings. And really want to commend our chairs and all the staff work and our board and all the time and effort they put into all of these initiatives that you're hearing about today. We'll start with the executive committee. Yesterday, the executive committee met. We approved the minutes from the March 6th meeting and then ended an executive session. We discussed the upcoming schedule as well as received updates from the various chairs and the standing committees of the board. And again, we go through all of the things you hear about today, but then there's so many dozens and dozens of other initiatives that we touch on. And it's really inspiring to see all of these folks work, and we're lucky that they're all willing to give their time and service to JobsOhio. Lori, do you want to give an audit committee update?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Rubin. The audit committee of the JobsOhio Board of Directors met yesterday, and first order of business was to approve the minutes of the last quarterly meeting. The committee received the quarterly report on compliance activities from Managing Director for Enterprise Risk, Claudia Harrington, as required by the corporation's whistleblower policy for the benefit of the committee. Ms. Harrington summarized her detailed report, and committee members discussed its contents in detail. Next, members of the JobsOhio accounting team provided detailed financial information to the committee for both the previous quarter and year-to-date, as well as detailed budget to actual reviews of expenditures and revenues for the same period. Finally, the committee devoted the majority of its time in review and discussion with management of the proposed operating budget for fiscal year 2025, which was recommended to and approved by the full board at its meeting yesterday afternoon. And then we had an executive session with only board members present at the end of the meeting. And with that summary, I conclude my report, Chairman Rubin.
Thank you, Lori. Any questions for Lori? Okay, next is the Compensation Committee and our chair, Rick Platt. Rick?
Thanks, Chair Rubin. The committee met yesterday, and we heard from Director of Human Resources Sheila Akins with updates on the company's various initiatives in the HR side. We had an update on the company's executive search that's underway for 2 positions. We also, the committee selected a new executive compensation consultant, as well as acted on management's recommendation to retain an executive benefits consultant. And finally, we conducted a review of the committee's charter with no changes or updates to it recommended. That's my report, Chair Rubin.
Thanks, Rick. Any questions for Rick? Seeing none. Last but certainly not least, we had a robust conversation yesterday. John Bishop from the Investment Committee. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You are right. We've been very busy on the Investment Committee, and yesterday we had a lengthy agenda, including approval of and review of the minutes of the previous meetings, and so approving those. Just for the record, during the fourth quarter of the fiscal year, the committee reviewed and approved or recommended a total of nearly $12.5 million in incentives in 4 core economic development projects. Those 4 core projects, the leadership of those companies have committed to create or retain at least 2,210 total jobs. And that's at a minimum. We've talked frequently about heard earlier about the factor of 2.3 jobs for every new one that's created, with all the support for construction and so on and so forth. Of those 2,210 total jobs, associated payroll is $207 million annual. The other very important thing is that there's an agreement in the capital improvements associated with those jobs to invest over $395 million in Ohio. In addition, yesterday, the committee recommended several significant contracts and projects to the full board. We have a very specific level of authority for each committee, and once the size of a project or a contract exceeds that, then the committee's recommendation goes to the full board, which is where the final approval rests. We approved 4 major contracts for services that represented in excess of $25 million. And in those 4 contracts, the most significant one was a multi-million-dollar, multi-year commitment for the talent acquisition that we've been hearing about at this meeting. That's a major portion of what our promotional budgets are. We also at the meeting approved the 2023 annual report as well as the 2024 strategic plan. I should say we approved and recommended to the full board for the approval, final approval. And then the full board again acted on positively on these. We approved changes to the program guidelines for the JobsOhio Small Business Grant Program and the pre-project planning grant, which are important in the development of our inclusion and growth strategies in different markets. The project approvals also were approved within the committee guidelines on several smaller projects. One significant additional approval was we approved the contract to ultimately acquire a warehouse facility through a JobsOhio affiliate that ultimately will be a state-of-the-art, highly technical JobsOhio beverage distribution center, which is critical to the success of our operations and frankly in the state. And then we also approved the renewal of a line of credit with Huntington National Bank. It's a line of credit we've accessed when we needed funds rapidly for the Intel project, for example. Even though we have a lot of assets in the bank, it's not always the easiest to get it on short notice. And we're one of those few organizations that has the financial wherewithal to be able to do that compared to many other states. So it makes a difference when you can react and respond. But we do need that line of credit to be available for the flexibility. As we do at every meeting, the committee spent a significant amount of time in reviewing our investment portfolio and potential changes to our investment philosophy. One area that we're looking at very closely after 10 years is whether we can simplify our investment strategy, frankly move more to a passive structure rather than an aggressive one, with the idea that we ultimately will still see significant returns in this investment and interest rate climate, certainly even with a passive administration. The key is to be the most efficient we can. We intentionally try to remain politically neutral, not make decisions based on other than good sound business practices. Mr. Chairman, that completes my report.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John? No. Thanks for shepherding through all of that, and also a special thanks to Andrew for your role in helping to make sure that we're staying on track there. Thank you. As we move into new business, is there any new business the board would like to bring up for discussion? Okay, hearing none. As we move into our closing remarks, I'll kick it off. I think we heard the Lieutenant Governor say earlier in this meeting that he outlined some of the successes, but also some of the challenges that we're facing. 540,000 jobs in the next 10 years is a pretty daunting challenge. Fortunately, JobsOhio has the tools to try to address many of those challenges. And I think you saw some examples of that today from our great panel, Dan, Denise, and Abby. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today and share those examples. I think you'll give some other people, the comfort and hopefully the know-how now to get in touch with us, and we can be helpful to them as well. What I heard from you all were a few words, though, that each of you, I don't know if you realized it, but you each said these words several times. I heard connect, I heard collaborate, I heard partnership, I heard opportunity, and I heard support. And I think we all know how important all of those words are, and how those are all very, very important pieces to this puzzle that we're trying to put together. And our team, I think, is well capable and well adaptable and able to help in all of those areas. So thank you again for that conversation. It was very helpful. We do have dozens and dozens of initiatives that we are undertaking, and I'll close by just asking for everybody's help. We are, as JP mentioned, we are about to embark, and we are embarking in this new 5-year strategic plan. And the reason you do 5-year strategic plans are because things change and things evolve, and it's our obligation to make sure that we stay ahead of that curve. So any insight, any ideas, any criticism, anything you want to share with us, we will take it in, and we would love the opportunity to sit and talk with you. So we appreciate that very much. Why don't we go around the room? Rick, we'll start with you. Any closing remarks?
Yes. I made some notes echoing the Lieutenant Governor's comments. As it turns out, echoing your comments too, Chair. Clearly, the talent and energy challenges are the fuel to seizing our development generational opportunity. Let's keep that phrase, general opportunity, alive. JobsOhio clearly has a role to play on the talent services side. It was uplifting to hear those stories. But we're not alone. It is a collaborative effort. It is a statewide effort that's going to be successful and really bringing folks back to Ohio, or maybe first time to Ohio. And then we have a strong voice. We are already doing it. It's more behind the scenes, but lending a strong voice to tackling the energy issues. We understand the business point of view when it comes to that issue from a diverse point of view, not just the manufacturing, not just data centers, but collectively. So I, again, echo the comments that we've heard in those two regards. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Scott, any comments you'd like to make?
Sure, thank you. Mr. Chairman and JP, thank you for a great board meeting this week. Thanks last night for the great game and the regional partners that we got to see there. Kim, thank you. Tom, thank you. The home team won, so that's always a good thing, even though I'm not a Reds fan. I grew up in Houston. I'm reflecting a lot on some of JP's charts that are pretty telling. Going back to that 2011 timeframe in the charts where we're talking about being number 47 in economic growth and 48th in job losses and where we've come. Now all of a sudden you move forward to 2024 in the top 5 and all, and whether it's new projects and per capita, capital investments, payroll, mega projects, you name it. It's just been explosive growth. And we've also experienced and we've forecasted, these economic headwinds that we keep talking about over the last couple of quarters. But keep in mind, this is relative to the where we are from an Ohio standpoint. This is a national issue, and we continue to make extreme headway in terms of how we're doing versus other states, as the data suggests. So we can continue to leapfrog during this time. It's a good time to leapfrog when we have a business model like we have, to be able to invest and keep the pedal to the metal during these economic times. So we'll remember the Jobs 1.0, what came out of that, the Jobs 2.0, and all of the explosive records and stuff that happened year over year. And I was excited to see during this meeting when we were talking about the planning of JobsOhio 3.0 that's rolling out here for the rest of the year. More to come on that, but certainly it's going to position us for 2025 and beyond. Extremely with this team, the JobsOhio, thank you to everyone that does this every day. Thank you to our regional partners and the collaboration that occurs to make all of our goals as Ohioans, come true before our very eyes. Don't want to go back to 2011.
Thank you, Scott. Well said. Tom, any comments?
Nobody. Is it on? Yeah, it's on. Yeah, we knew if we were going to be successful at this over the years, we were going to outkick our coverage, which we have done. And, but if you build it, they will come. And we have such a great team to fill out the talent needs in our state. I'm not worried about it at all. I think we're going to get there. But we had to get the jobs first. We had to set that up first. We did. Now it's all about talent, backfilling talent. And that's definitely going to happen with the team that we have. So we have an outstanding team, got a great plan to do it. And I think when we come back here a year from now, we're even going to be further along in our talent fulfillment.
Thank you, Tom. And again, thanks for your hospitality and all that you have done for this great city. It's been just a great trip and a great time to be here, so thank you. Lori.
Thank you. As you mentioned, we had a long day yesterday. We had a lot of updates. And as I reflected on that, I really appreciated the update on the 3 innovation districts. We're heading into year 5 on that 10-year commitment for that plan. And we saw significant data on the research spend, the number of STEM graduates, and just how we're surpassing those targets and just making significant progress on all 3 of those together. And those innovation districts are so critical to our success in Ohio because that research will turn into the formation of new companies and then into new jobs and just be significant for our economic development. So I just look forward to seeing the continued focus, the continued momentum in those districts. And then I do also want to say thank you to the folks that are leading those efforts, and then also there's a lot of stakeholders involved. So thank you to all the partners that participate to get us to where we are. So thank you.
Thanks, Lori. John?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. We don't compare notes in advance. I can assure you that. I've been around a bunch of these meetings. But I'm amazed that those of us have made some notes in advance. The word challenge has come up in just about everybody's discussions. And I think we have to be candid. I mean, we went through a different economic period over the last 10 or 15 years. You go from no interest rates to what we're dealing with today. I think you can't deny the fact that there's an election this year, and that's changing some turmoil in what people are thinking about. But to me, those are all advantages that JobsOhio has. Because when things get tough, the tougher are the ones that are successful. And we, over the last 10 years, 10 plus years, have, laid the foundation for what is demonstrating itself as being probably one of the most successful state workforce development and economic development agencies in the country. And I think the numbers speak for themselves. And that's a huge change from when JobsOhio was formed. I think our unemployment rate was about 11%. We lost like 5 GM plants. It was just things were extremely concerning, which is the reason, obviously, all this effort was put into it. So I just think we're in a position that we should be excited and have the opportunity to be successful because we got this machine that's going now where other states are really at a loss. And you do get a charge out of when you watch a little TV and you're retired and you have some time to do that. You see, the CEO of Intel talk about how humble we were, but why they came our way, but were aggressive, and that's a deal that 50 of the world's best we're chasing, and that's just an example of what we've been able to accomplish. So I think we're in a position when things are tough to be able to excel even better.
Thank you, John. JP, any closing remarks?
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Chairman. Sticking with the theme of challenges and opportunities. The differentiator is really our people, represented by what's in this room. And just to give Cincinnati as an example, since we're in Cincinnati, we got to experience the wonderful quality of life last night. And maybe atypical weather, but it was still nice weather. We're celebrating Ready Cincinnati's 10th anniversary this year. It's a milestone, while at the same time we celebrate the founding of one of our new partners. We're in the Innovation District zone here, and Cincinnati was the first innovation district. They led the way. It happened because people stepped out, stepped up, and when we had challenges, didn't cut and run, rolled up sleeves, worked together, found a better way, creative ideas, and together took risk and a leap together. And people in this room, I need to call out and thank Neville Pinto and Ryan Hayes, and I saw Gary Lindgren here, for leveraging their influence along with this board. And there's more going on in Cincinnati, and you know, we have the Cincinnati Open Tennis Tournament. Again, there was a risk and a threat, and the people in Cincinnati found a way. So that tournament, we will be a sponsor of that tournament like we were last year and the year before. People in Cincinnati found a way. You have coming up the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Ohio was selected by Forbes to highlight the 30 most enterprising leaders under the age of 30 in multiple categories. Thousands of people will be coming to Cincinnati this September. That initiative is being led for us by Phil Greenberg. But again, the people in Cincinnati have rallied. They're helping raise the resources required, establish the venues to highlight their city. So I would say leaning on challenges and opportunities, yeah, the environment's changing. We're going to continue to adapt. We've proven, again, since we work together well as a team, that we won't only adapt, but will lead and will persist where others might give up and quit. Ohio will continue to chip away at it until we earn a leadership position. So I just want to thank Cincinnati, the stakeholders from Cincinnati, and Chairman Rubin, thank you, and our volunteer board members again. We talk about the tough, long days, long weeks to prepare for those board meetings, and then that you to take time away from your businesses and your family priorities and your other priorities to come in and help us make that platform better so that we can continue to earn and stay in a leadership position. So really appreciate the board and the team. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, JP. Our next quarterly meeting is scheduled for October 24th, and we will have more information to come on that. Any other business the board would like to discuss? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn? A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.